Everyone, LP here, and this is going to be part 2 of the 3-part series on Preparedness 101. The idea is that it's based on the pillars of preparedness of water, food, and security. The first one was water. If you need to get to that video first, it's in the list. I'll put a link someplace over here. But we're going to be talking about food today, and food can be interesting in itself. Now, one of the ways that I teach is that I throw the information out to you first, basically the background, the idea behind the process, and then from there we move into the more detailed stuff. So let's go ahead and start this. The very first one is sustains energy and health. Now, having a 3-week supply of non-perishable food per person basically equals energy and the nutrients to stay healthy. You know, in stressful situations, good nutrition equals stamina and good decision making. When you don't feel too hot because you're hungry, you don't think very well. That's just the reality of it. The next one is supply chain disruptions. Now, natural disasters, power outages, economic crises, they cause food shortages. We live in a just-in-time food system, whether we like it or not. We discovered that during that thing that we can't speak about. You know, this is going to make it hard to get food at your local Wally World, Food Lion, Piggly Wiggly, etc. Now, having food stores reduces the dependence on stores. Get it? Hopefully that locked in a little bit. And number 3, we're going to talk about shelf-stable food. Now, with shelf-stable food, storing non-perishable items, canned goods, freeze-dried meals, rice and beans. You're going to hear rice and beans a few times because it's a pretty serious staple, but you don't want to try and survive on it. You'll just die of diarrhea. But basically, this is going to ensure that your food remains safe to eat over long periods of time without refrigeration. You know, if you are in an extended power outage, the longest I've ever had here at this homestead is 9 days, and the refrigerators didn't last. The freezer won't last 9 days. It's just that easy. And then we're going to go to variety/health and morale. Now, it's important to stock a variety of foods to meet dietary needs. But you should also make sure that you include proteins, carbohydrates, and fats. And different flavors and textures can definitely boost morale during stressful situations. You don't want to get food boredom. You don't want to get locked up on eating the same thing every day. You're not going to have a great day. All right, and then rotation. Now, rotating food is actually pretty simple. You have to rotate your stockpile, basically eating items and replacing them with new ones prevents waste and ensures that the food is always safe to eat. Generally speaking, you eat from the front and you store to the back. It's that easy. You're always eating your oldest food. Last week, I had peas for supper, or should I say peas with my supper, that were from 2015. So canned goods are a viable food source for beginning preppers. It's just that easy. Or advanced preppers. I don't do a lot of canning. I love canning, but that's a different story. All right, so the next thing we need to talk about, now that we've got the basics locked into place, is storage. I'm sorry, we're going to start with procurement. I probably need to be over here. Procurement. Now, with procurement, you have methods, okay? So there's basically 3 simplified methods of procurement. All right, the first one is the easiest way to procure things, okay, or procure food in this case. Canned goods, freeze-dried meals, bulk staples like rice and beans coming back. These are going to last for a long time, and they're going to last for a long time on the shelf all by themselves. And these are the easiest way. You can go to local Wally World. You can pick up almost everything you want. You can follow my 6-can method. If you don't know what that is, let me know in the comments. I will tell you all about it. It's super simple to do. Any Barney can figure it out. The next thing is skills. And we're getting into a little bit more advanced level type stuff here that happens a little quicker, but does take time to begin. When we talk about skills, we're talking about hunting, fishing, and trapping. This is a sustainable way to source protein in times of need, but it requires two things. One, knowledge. Two, equipment. So you have to know how to hunt, and you have to have the tool to hunt, the rifle, the slingshot, the bow and arrow, the crossbow, something like that. You've got to be able to pair those things together. This doesn't happen overnight, and rarely accidentally. So skills are kind of like the next level up. And then you have gardening. Now, gardening is very simple. You're growing food, okay? This adds another layer of self-reliance by supporting or supplying fresh vegetables, fruit, and herbs. It can be done in small spaces. I know people that use vertical gardens. I know people that grow potatoes in $10 totes of dirt, full of dirt that they bought at Walmart. They can grow it right in a room that gets just a little bit of sunlight and it is temperature controlled. It is not impossible. So you can grow your own food. Now, combining these methods equals resilience and self-sufficiency. With all that said, the next thing we need to talk about is food storage. Now, it's always going to come down to preservation, and there's common methods for for preservation. There's always going to be common methods. Hopefully you guys are seeing this. First and foremost, canning. You know, this involves, I feel like I'm in a bad spot. There we go, canning. This involves sealing food in jars and heating to kill bacteria, allowing fruits, vegetables, and meats to last for years. I personally love to can, but I don't have any of the supplies that I need to do it here. I'll be getting them this weekend, but I love to can. It's just that I can so many things, and then I eat them all, and then I don't can anymore. That's my biggest cross to bear in the preservation area of preparedness. Dehydration. This removes the moisture from food and prevents spoilage, making it ideal for allowing fruits, vegetables, and meats to last for a long period of time. Now, with dehydrating, you're probably only going to get about a year out of that food, but it is a way to take food that would have spoiled and over a short period of time and making it last even longer. Dehydrators are not as expensive as people think they are, and unless you plan on dehydrating oodles and oodles of food, you don't actually need to spend a lot of money on it because you don't need a giant one. You just need one that has 4 or 5 racks in it, and will do the job. The next step from there is freeze drying. Now with freeze drying, it's generally a commercial process that retains nutrients and flavor by freezing the food and removing the moisture in a vacuum, with the resulting product lasting up to 25 years. I've actually seen some companies that are claiming that their freeze-dried foods actually last up to 30 years now. So the process has been refined over time. It's getting better and better with technology. What I can tell you is that if you want to purchase your own freeze dryer, you're going to probably spend anywhere from $2,000 to $3,000 for it, depending on the size that you buy. And unless you plan on dehydrating food, or not dehydrating, but freeze drying lots and lots of food, I will just say that you need to make sure that the juice is worth the squeeze. They do have financing and payment plans, so you might want to look into that. I'll leave a link below for some of these different things. Fermentation, guys. Fermentation, this one is often forgotten about. Fermentation, there we go, man sounds. It's double-sided. Fermentation is a natural preservation method that's beneficial to bacteria to preserve vegetables like sauerkraut or kimchi, and it provides both longevity and probiotics. Now, here's the magical thing. When you eat a lot of survival food, or you eat a lot of food that's been either dehydrated and rehydrated, or freeze-dried and then rehydrated, basically there's a processing that you're doing to the food, and it's not as good, and it kills lots of bacteria that's in the food. And so your gut actually needs that food, or needs that bacteria. And with fermentation, eating fermented foods puts good bacteria back into your stomach, into your gut, and so it actually acts as a probiotic. So you might want to contemplate getting into fermentation. It's actually pretty easy. You just put stuff in jars and let it set. All right, there's no magic to this whatsoever. All right, and let's see here where we got vacuum sealing. Vacuum sealing is, it just helps extend the shelf life of dry goods like grains, beans, nuts, by removing the air and preventing oxidation. This method adds flexibility to food storage by helping to build a reliable long-term food supply. So you basically put all your dry goods inside of vacuum bags, put yourself an oxygen absorber in there, and sucks all the oxygen out of there so that it can't oxidize. It's actually very, very common. You don't even have to use Mylar bags. Now these three right here, these are what I call, they're more of like art forms, okay? This is where we're starting to get not necessarily advanced, but you have to have a common knowledge on how they work. First of all, drying stuff. Normally this pertains to meat, but it can be done with fruits and vegetables. This removes the moisture from food. It prevents spoilage and makes it ideal for fruits, vegetables, and meats. It's not a simple process, but it is a simple process. It requires learning. You need to learn how to do it. Smoking, it's another traditional method where meat or fish is exposed to smoke, not fire, not heat, but smoke, preserving it through dehydration and natural chemicals in the smoke. Now, yes, there's a little bit of heat coming up there, but it's like 120 degrees. It's nothing. And then lastly is salt preservation. It's included in what they call salting and or brining. It draws the moisture out of food. It's creating an environment where bacteria just can't grow, and it's particularly effective with meats and fish. The drawback to salting is that it takes a metric ton of salt to actually draw out all the moisture from the meat or the fish. You have to basically just like put it in a giant container of salt and let the salt do its job over time. But once again, this is more of an art form than anything else. Okay, so and the last thing we're going to talk about is food diversity. Now with food diversity is critical in emergency preparedness because it ensures a few things. Now the first thing is balanced nutrition. It's pretty simple. With food diversity, if you just ate rice and beans until you died, basically you would die with a full stomach, but you would be, the nutritional value would be, your body, you would just die of diarrhea basically. It's not a good thing. So you need to have all the proteins, all the fats, all the carbohydrates, complex carbs if you can get your hands on them, and the fats. You know, you need to have a very nutritious diet, and with food diversity, balancing that out when you purchase or create your own food stores gives you the balanced nutrition. The next one is sustained energy. Sometimes you can just eat the survival food and you'll have no energy whatsoever. Everybody talks about the calories, but it really has a lot to do with the protein. Protein equals energy. It's just that easy. Your body will burn its own fat in a survival situation, but obviously the carbs that come from and carbs and calories that come from vegetables, from starches, they're different than from proteins. And they will provide your body with some energy, but they're literally just burning that for nothing. They're empty calories. All right, and the next thing is what you want to do is mix things up, and that's to avoid food boredom. Once again, there's a lot of different things that you can purchase or make yourself, but I'm telling you, there's something to be said for a hot cup of cocoa on a cool winter night that makes you feel good. A hot cup of tea with some cinnamon in it, things like that. And doing those things are going to boost morale. Going back to avoid food boredom, you're not eating the same things over and over and over. No one likes to do that. But with the boost of morale, we just spoke about that hot cup of tea. Maybe that's, I think this can all be fixed with, how do I say this? Relying on just one type of food like canned goods or grains can lead to some very serious nutrient as well as food boredom deficiencies. You need canned meats, dried fruits, smoked fish, etc. This is going to provide a wider nutritional base, which is what this really is about, food diversity. You know, the big thing to remember about food diversity is flavors. Diversity in flavors will prevent food fatigue, which isn't good for morale. And the simple fix for this is buy some spices. Learn how to use them. It's a game changer. All right, guys, I hope you enjoyed this class on food. And as usual, on your way out the door, hit that thumbs up button. It's free and it helps the channel. And if you're not subscribed, please hit that subscribe button. Everybody check your bells. If you want to support the channel, there are links below for you to do that. As usual, stay safe, have a great day, and I'll see you when I see you. Bye-bye.